The first thing Roman Blackwood said after kidnapping me was, "Relax, Noah. If I wanted you dead, you wouldn't be sitting in a car with heated seats." That was not comforting, not even slightly. I stared at the man across from me while rain streaked the tinted windows of the black SUV, turning downtown Chicago into a watercolor of headlights and neon. 10 minutes ago, I had been leaving work, exhausted, hungry, and thinking about the leftover pizza in my refrigerator. Then I climbed into what I thought was my rideshare. The doors locked. My phone lost service. And now I was sitting 3 feet from a stranger who looked like he owned either a Fortune 500 company or several extremely illegal warehouses. Maybe both. Roman Blackwood wore a charcoal suit without a tie, his dark hair swept back, his expression so calm it somehow made everything worse. "You know my name?" I said. "Yes." That's usually the part where the kidnapped person starts screaming. "You already tried that." "I can try again." His mouth almost moved. Almost. Apparently, I'd been abducted by a man who rationed facial expressions. I reached for the door handle again. Locked. "Where are you taking me?" Roman didn't answer. Instead, he lifted a black folder from the seat beside him and placed it between us. My name was printed across the front. Noah Bennett. My stomach dropped. "What is that?" "Your file." I gathered that, Batman. "Why do you have a file on me?" His gray eyes settled on mine. Cold. Steady. Unreadable. Because tonight wasn't an accident. That erased every sarcastic response in my head. I opened the folder. There was my apartment address, my workplace, my college records, even a photograph of me buying coffee 2 weeks earlier. I snapped it shut. "You've been following me." "Watching." That is not better. It wasn't supposed to be. The SUV turned off the main road. Buildings disappeared behind us, replaced by dark stretches of trees and expensive houses hidden beyond iron gates. I forced myself to breathe slowly. Panic would not unlock the doors. Panic would not tell me why Roman Blackwood knew what coffee I ordered on Tuesdays. "Who are you?" I asked. He waited just long enough to make the answer feel dangerous. "Someone whose family has enemies." "Congratulations. Mine has awkward Thanksgiving dinners." "Why am I here?" For the first time, something changed behind his eyes. Not anger. Calculation. Roman reached inside the folder and removed a single sheet of paper. "My family has a succession problem." I stared at him. "Sounds like a family problem. It became yours 3 weeks ago." "How?" "Your name appeared on a list that should never have existed." My pulse stumbled. "What list?" Roman didn't answer that. Instead, he slid the document across the leather seat. I refused to touch it. "Read it." "No, Noah. You kidnapped me." You don't get to use the disappointed parent voice. That almost expression returned, gone before I could identify it. "Read the first line." Against every instinct I had, I looked down. 2 words sat at the top in bold letters. "Heir agreement." I read them twice, because apparently my brain had decided denial was a survival strategy. Then I looked back at Roman. "You have got to be kidding me." "I'm not. You dragged me into a car because your family needs an heir?" Roman leaned forward slightly, and suddenly the 3 feet between us felt much smaller. "No," he said quietly. "I took you because someone else was coming for you first." For 5 full seconds, I forgot how breathing worked. "Someone else was coming for me?" I repeated. Roman did not blink. "Yes." "And your solution was to kidnap me first?" It was the fastest option. Was asking politely unavailable? You would have said no. I am saying no now. Exactly. I stared at him, wondering how one man could be so infuriating while sitting perfectly still. The SUV finally slowed before enormous iron gates. They opened without the driver stopping. Beyond them stood a stone mansion surrounded by acres of dark lawn, security lights, and enough cameras to make the White House jealous. "Where exactly are we?" "My home." That somehow makes this worse. Roman stepped out when the SUV stopped. I stayed seated. He looked back. "Noah." "Roman. Come inside." I would rather walk 12 miles back to Chicago in the rain. It is 37 miles. I hated that he knew the exact distance. I hated even more that he quietly removed his coat and held it toward me because I was shivering. "I am not taking that." "Then keep shivering out of principle." I took the coat. Victory did not appear on his face. That bothered me more than a smirk would have. Inside, the mansion was surprisingly quiet. No dramatic army of criminals. No suspicious trapdoors. Just polished wood, warm lamps, and several men in dark suits who immediately straightened when Roman entered. Their reaction told me everything his silence had not. Roman Blackwood was not merely wealthy. He was the person everyone in this house feared disappointing. A silver-haired man approached. "Mr. Blackwood, the council is waiting." His eyes moved toward me. "Is this the Omega?" Roman's expression changed instantly. "His name is Noah." The correction was quiet, but the entire foyer seemed to freeze. Roman turned to me. "Stay beside me." That sounds suspiciously like an order. "Tonight, it is advice." We entered a long dining room where 6 men waited around a table. One of them looked me over like I was paperwork. "So this is the candidate." "I am standing right here," I said. Roman pulled out the chair beside his own. "Sit. You really need another verb." His eyes almost warmed. "Please." That surprised me enough that I sat. A document waited on the table. The same heir agreement. An older man folded his hands. "The arrangement is straightforward. Publicly, Mr. Bennett will remain under Blackwood protection as Roman's intended partner while the succession matter is resolved." I nearly choked. "His what?" Roman's jaw tightened. "It creates legal and social protection around you. You want people to think we are together? Temporarily. I met you less than an hour ago. I am aware. You kidnapped me. Also aware." The older man frowned. "His cooperation is irrelevant." Roman turned his head slowly. The temperature in the room seemed to fall. "No," he said. "It is not." Silence. Roman pushed the agreement away from me. "No signature tonight. No decision tonight." The man stared at him. "The family requires certainty. Then the family can learn patience." Something strange tightened in my chest. Roman had brought me here against my will, yet now he was the only person in the room insisting my choice mattered. Before I could understand that contradiction, a security guard hurried through the doorway and whispered something into Roman's ear. Roman went completely still. "When?" he asked. 2 minutes ago." Roman stood and offered me his hand. I did not take it. "What happened?" His gaze shifted toward the tall windows facing the front gates. "The people I warned you about found us." I laughed once, nervously. "Great. Then I am leaving through the back." "Noah." "What?" Roman looked directly at me. "They are already waiting there." Roman did not raise his voice. Somehow, that made everyone move faster. Within seconds, the dining room emptied into controlled chaos as security guards crossed the foyer and heavy curtains closed over the windows. I stayed beside the table, still wearing Roman's coat, which felt increasingly ridiculous considering I was apparently trapped inside a mansion surrounded by people who had opinions about my future. "Tell me this is normal for you," I said. Roman checked his phone. "It is not unusual. That is significantly worse." His mouth twitched. There it was again, that almost smile he kept pretending he did not have. The silver-haired man returned and handed Roman a small velvet box. Roman opened it. Inside sat a heavy silver ring engraved with a black wolf. "Absolutely not," I said immediately. Roman looked at me. "I have not asked anything yet. That is clearly a family ring, and tonight has already included kidnapping, an heir agreement, and a fake relationship. I recognize narrative escalation when I see it." For 1 second, Roman actually looked amused. "You would wear it temporarily." "Why?" "Because the men outside need to believe you are under my personal protection. And your coat, your mansion, and approximately 40 men with earpieces are too subtle." Roman stepped closer, lowering his voice. "They know my family. They know this ring. If you wear it, touching you becomes an attack against me." My sarcasm disappeared. "And if I refuse?" "Then you refuse." That answer came too quickly to be manipulation. Roman held the box open, but made no move toward my hand. That restraint did something strange to me. He had dragged me here without permission, yet every choice since arriving seemed to matter more to him than it did to the men surrounding him. I took the ring. "This does not mean I agreed to anything." "Understood." "Especially the heir part." His gaze held mine. "Understood." The ring was too large for my finger, so Roman removed a thin chain from beneath his shirt and offered it to me. I hesitated before taking it. Our fingers brushed for barely a second. Roman went still. So did I. It was nothing. Completely ordinary. Except his eyes dropped to my hand before returning to my face, and suddenly the room felt quieter than it was. I threaded the ring onto the chain and slipped it around my neck. "Happy?" "No, you are difficult to impress. You are still in danger." Before I could answer, the older councilman from earlier approached us. His expression hardened when he saw the ring. That belongs to your mother's line. Roman's face became unreadable. I know what it belongs to. You would give that to a temporary arrangement? Temporary arrangement. I should not have cared. Strangely, I did. Roman noticed my expression before I could hide it. Noah is standing 3 feet away, he said coldly. Speak to him, not about him. The councilman glanced at me. You misunderstand your position. Roman moved between us. Not dramatically, not aggressively. Just one quiet step that placed his body directly in front of mine. I think you misunderstand his. Nobody spoke. Then Roman's phone vibrated. He looked at the screen, and for the first time that night, genuine alarm crossed his face. I caught only part of the message before he turned the phone away. The Bennett file was leaked. Roman immediately looked at me. What file? I asked. Not here. You already have a file on me. Not that one. My stomach tightened. Roman, what are you hiding? A guard entered from the hallway. The front gate is clear. They withdrew. Without asking for anything? Roman said. The guard hesitated. They left something. He handed Roman a white envelope. My name was written across it. Roman opened it, read the single page inside, and his expression went completely blank. What does it say? He did not answer. I grabbed the paper before he could stop me. There were only 7 words. Noah Bennett was never supposed to survive 26. I read the message 3 times before the words stopped looking like nonsense. Never supposed to survive 26? My voice came out quieter than I wanted. That is not ominous at all. Roman took the paper from my hand, but his eyes stayed on me. How old are you? 26. His jaw tightened. When is your birthday? 3 weeks from now. The room suddenly felt colder. Before I could demand an explanation, the silver-haired man returned. The council has assembled in the East Room. They want answers, and they are not alone. Roman looked irritated. Who else is here? Adrian Mercer. Something in Roman's expression changed. Of course he is. Who is Adrian Mercer? I asked. Roman folded the note and placed it inside his jacket. A problem with expensive shoes. 10 minutes later, I understood. Adrian Mercer stood near the fireplace in the East Room wearing a navy suit and the kind of smile that probably came with a legal disclaimer. He was handsome, polished, and far too comfortable in Roman's house. His gaze landed on the ring hanging from my neck. Then he laughed. You gave him that. Roman stopped beside me. Good evening, Adrian. Do not sound so thrilled. Adrian looked at me again. So you are Noah Bennett. Apparently everyone knows me except me. Charming. His smile sharpened. Roman always did collect complicated things. Roman's voice turned flat. Noah is not a thing. Adrian lifted both hands. Relax. I am only surprised. Last month the council was discussing heirs. Now you appear with an unknown Omega wearing your family ring. People might assume desperation. Several council members exchanged looks. Heat climbed into my face. I suddenly understood why Roman had called our fake relationship protection. This room was not interested in who I was. They were interested in what I represented. He has no family standing, one man said. No. Verified background beyond ordinary public records, another added. And now there is a threat connected to his name. How convenient. You think I arranged that? I asked. Adrian tilted his head. I think Roman has enemies, and strangers rarely arrive without motives. I arrived because he put me in an SUV. That sounds like Roman. Adrian's smile faded when he looked at Roman. There was history there. Personal history. You used to have better judgment. Roman did not react. And you used to know when to leave. Adrian stepped closer. Is this really worth embarrassing the family? I felt every eye turned toward me. The fake partner. The suspicious outsider. The nobody wearing a ring that apparently mattered. I reached for the chain. Fine. I will give it back. Roman caught my wrist gently before I could remove it. Not gripping. Just stopping me. His hand was warm. His voice was calm. No, I looked at him. Roman. He released my wrist immediately, then turned toward the room. Since everyone seems confused, I will make this simple. Noah is here under my protection. His background is being investigated because someone has threatened him, not because he owes any of you proof that he deserves to stand in this room. Nobody interrupted. Roman continued. The ring stays with him because I gave it to him. If that embarrasses the family will survive the inconvenience. Adrian stared at him. You sound almost sincere. Roman glanced at me, and for one dangerous second, the entire fake arrangement felt strangely real. Maybe you should stop assuming you know what I sound like when I mean something. Adrian's expression hardened. He walked past us, then paused beside me. Ask him why he already knew your birthday. Roman went still. Adrian smiled without warmth and left. I turned slowly. You asked me when my birthday was 10 minutes ago. Roman said nothing. You already knew. Silence stretched between us. Then my eyes dropped to the heir agreement on the table. A handwritten date appeared at the bottom of the final page. 6 months ago. 3 months before Roman claimed my name had appeared on that list. I looked up at him. Roman, I whispered, how long have you really known about me? Roman looked at the date, and the silence on his face told me more than any confession could have. 6 months, I said. You knew about me 6 months ago. Noah, there is context. There is always context when someone gets caught lying. I stepped away from him, suddenly aware that I was still wearing his coat and his family ring, dressed like evidence in a case against my own judgment. I pulled off the coat and placed it on the table. Start talking. Roman glanced toward the council members still lingering nearby. Not here. No. You do not get another private room, another locked door, another carefully edited version of the truth. Tell me now. His eyes held mine for a long second. Then he turned toward the others. Leave. Nobody argued. Even the older councilman walked out. When the doors closed, Roman crossed to a cabinet and removed a second black folder. The agreement you saw was drafted 6 months ago, he said. Not for you specifically. My name is handwritten on it. Because 3 months later, you became the preferred candidate. The words landed harder than I expected. Preferred candidate. Suddenly, every careful glance, every moment of restraint, every time Roman had defended me felt contaminated by a question I hated asking. So Adrian was right. About what? You needed an heir, and then you found me. Roman's expression tightened. It was more complicated. Stop saying that. I opened the folder. The first page contained a photograph of Roman standing beside several older men at what looked like a corporate event. Underneath was a newspaper clipping. Blackwood Industries' successor takes control after family shakeup. I looked at him. Successor. Roman said nothing. I read further. Roman Blackwood was not merely connected to the family. He was its legal heir, chief executive officer of Blackwood Industries, and, according to a confidential memorandum tucked behind the article, the recognized alpha leader of the Blackwood organization. My fake boyfriend was not some powerful man working inside the system. He was the system. You let me think the council controlled you. They influenced decisions. But you lead them. Yes. I laughed, but there was nothing funny in it. Anything else? Secret presidency? Private island? Moon base? No moon base. Not helping. I turned another page and froze. There was my photograph again, dated 5 months earlier. Then another. Then another. Coffee shop. Grocery store. Outside my apartment. My anger went cold. You were watching me before my name appeared on the list. Roman's gaze shifted. Barely. But I caught it. Why? Because your name appeared somewhere else first. He reached for the folder. I pulled it away. Where? Noah. Where? His voice dropped. In records connected to my father. That stopped me. Your father? Roman nodded once. He died 8 years ago. Afterward, I found references to a Bennett family account that had been sealed before I took control. My parents never knew your family. That is what I believed. I flipped through the papers faster until a typed page caught my eye. Bennett, Noah. Compatibility status. Verified. Priority, high. Below it, in Roman's handwriting, were 2 words. Remove candidate. I stared at them. You removed me? Roman looked almost relieved that I had found it. Yes. Then why was my name back on the heir agreement? I do not know. I looked at him sharply. You expect me to believe someone changed your own records without you knowing? That is exactly what worries me. I wanted to believe him. That was the worst part. Somewhere between the locked SUV and the moment he stood between me and an entire room of suspicious strangers, I had started trusting him. Just enough for this to hurt. I removed the chain from my neck and placed his family ring beside the folder. Roman stared at it. Keep it until this is over. No, it protects you. Then find another way. His face remained controlled, but his hands slowly closed around the ring. Where are you going? Anywhere in this house that is not beside you. I reached the door before Roman spoke again. Noah, there is 1 page missing from that file. I stopped. What page? The one explaining why I removed your name. I turned around. Then show me. Roman's silence lasted 1 second too long. I cannot. My stomach sank. Why not? His eyes went to the open folder. Because someone took it before I brought you here. By 3 in the morning, anger had become exhaustion, and exhaustion had become me sitting on the floor beside a guest room window wondering how my life had turned into a conspiracy before I had even finished paying off my student loans. Rain tapped softly against the glass. I had refused dinner, ignored 2 polite knocks, and spent an hour trying to convince myself that Roman Blackwood meant nothing to me. That part should have been easy. It was not. A 3rd knock came. Go away. I brought coffee. I looked toward the door. That is emotional bribery. It is decaf. That is emotional betrayal. Silence. Then, unexpectedly, Roman laughed. It was quiet and brief, but real. I opened the door before common sense could stop me. Roman stood there without his suit jacket, holding a mug and a plate with a grilled cheese sandwich. The terrifying alpha leader of an entire criminal dynasty had apparently responded to my emotional crisis with diner food. The kitchen staff went home, he said. You made this. I can operate a skillet. Your resume keeps getting stranger. He handed me the plate, but remained in the hallway. He did not enter. That mattered more than I wanted it to. You can come in, I finally said. Roman stepped inside and sat in the chair farthest from me. No demands. No contract. No family ring. I ate half the sandwich before speaking. Why did you remove me from the list? Roman looked toward the ring. Because I knew what the agreement would cost you. You barely knew me. I knew enough. His voice was quieter now. My father raised me to believe family was duty. Every friendship was leverage. Every relationship was an alliance. When I presented as an alpha, the council stopped asking what I wanted and started discussing what I owed them. I watched him carefully. An heir. He nodded. Eventually. So you drafted the agreement. I allowed it to be drafted. His jaw tightened. I told myself there was a difference. For the first time, Roman did not look powerful. He looked tired. Not tonight tired. Years tired. Then your file. Crossed my desk, he continued. There were photographs, medical records, financial records, details about your life that nobody had any right to possess. Everyone discussed compatibility. Nobody asked whether you would want any part of it. Including you. Including me. He did not defend himself. Somehow, that made my anger harder to hold. I removed your name the same night. Why? Roman met my eyes. Because you looked happy. I blinked. In a surveillance photograph? You were outside a grocery store holding a broken paper bag. Oranges were rolling across the sidewalk. You were laughing. My throat tightened unexpectedly. I remembered that day. That is your reason? It was enough. Thunder rolled somewhere beyond the property. The lights flickered, and I instinctively glanced toward the window. Roman noticed. You hate storms. I do not hate them. Another crack of thunder answered for me. Roman wisely said nothing. My mother hated them, I admitted. After she died, they got harder. Roman's expression softened. I am sorry. The rain intensified. A minute passed. Then another. Roman stayed where he was, saying nothing, and somehow his silence stopped feeling threatening. It felt safe. What are you afraid of? I asked. He looked surprised. You clearly have something. His gaze lowered to his hands. Becoming my father. The answer was immediate. He believed protecting people meant controlling them. I spent years believing the same thing. Roman looked at me again. Then I put you in that car. Not your finest personal growth moment. No, his almost smile vanished. I thought keeping you alive justified taking away your choice. I was wrong. My anger did not disappear, but something inside it shifted. What happens tomorrow? I take you home. I stared at him. Just like that. With security nearby, if you permit it. If not, I will find another way to keep watch. And the fake relationship? Over, if you want it over. Something uncomfortable pulled at my chest. I should have felt relieved. Instead, the word over sounded strangely final. Roman stood and walked toward the door. Try to sleep. Roman. He stopped. If I leave, are you afraid I will not come back? For several seconds, the most powerful man in the house said nothing. Then his carefully controlled expression cracked just enough for me to see the lonely man underneath. Yes, he said, but that cannot be the reason you stay. Roman kept his promise. At 9 the next morning, a black sedan waited beneath the front steps to take me home, and for once, nobody tried to hand me a contract before breakfast. I had almost reached the car when the front gates opened. 3 luxury vehicles rolled into the circular driveway, followed by 2 news vans. That feels bad, I muttered. Roman came down the steps behind me, instantly alert. Adrian Mercer emerged from the first car wearing another perfect suit and an expression that made me want to check whether my wallet was still in my pocket. Behind him came several council members and 2 reporters holding microphones. "Roman," Adrian called pleasantly. "Before your guest disappears, I thought the family deserved some transparency." Roman stopped beside me. "They are leaving. After they see this." Adrian lifted a folder. My stomach dropped. Copies appeared in reporters' hands. The heir agreement. My name. Roman's name. A section promising financial support, housing, and protection in exchange for publicly presenting myself as Roman's partner. "That is not the agreement I saw," I said. Adrian smiled. "Your signature is certainly convincing." I stared at the bottom of the page. There it was. Noah Bennett. It looked exactly like my handwriting. I never signed that. Cameras turned toward me. Questions came immediately. How much was Roman paying me? Had I targeted him because of his inheritance? Was the relationship staged to secure control of Blackwood Industries? One reporter held up photographs of me wearing Roman's coat and family ring. Another displayed a screenshot of a message supposedly sent from my phone. "If Blackwood wants an heir, he can afford me." My face went cold. "That is fake." Adrian gave me a sympathetic look that somehow felt crueler than open contempt. "Of course. I did not send that." "Then perhaps someone borrowed your phone." A councilman stepped forward. "Roman, this cannot continue. He arrived yesterday, and within hours private family documents were leaked. Now we discover he negotiated payment." "I negotiated nothing," I snapped. "I did not even know who Roman was." Adrian looked toward the cameras. Yet he was wearing the Blackwood ring before midnight. Every eye moved to me. I wished I still had the ring just so I could throw it at him. Instead, I looked at Roman. He had not spoken. Not once. His expression was unreadable. "Roman." "Nothing." 3 seconds passed. Then 5. It was ridiculous how much those seconds hurt. Last night he had admitted he was afraid I would leave. This morning, with everyone watching, he looked like the cold stranger from the SUV again. Adrian's smile widened. Even Roman seems to understand. Something inside me shut down. "Fine." I stepped away. "You wanted transparency? Here it is." I never asked for his money. I never asked for his protection. I never asked to be brought here. Whatever game your family is playing, find another piece. I started toward the sedan. "Noah." Roman's voice stopped me. I did not turn around. "You do not have to defend yourself." I laughed bitterly. Apparently someone does. "I was not asking you to." His footsteps crossed the stone behind me. Roman moved past me and faced the cameras instead. "The signature is forged." Adrian's smile vanished. Roman continued calmly. "The payment clause was added overnight. The original document is stored on an encrypted server with a verified timestamp. The message attributed to Noah came from a number registered 6 hours ago." Silence swept through the driveway. Roman looked at Adrian. "You should have checked the metadata." Adrian's face tightened. Roman was not finished. "Noah did not approach my family. My family approached him. He did not ask for the ring. I gave it to him. He did not request protection. I placed him under it." A reporter called. "Then is the relationship fake?" Roman went silent again. This time, when he looked at me, there was no coldness left. "It began as an arrangement," he said. My heart sank before he added, "What it became is nobody's business but ours." Adrian stepped forward. "You are risking everything for someone you met yesterday." Roman's gaze never left mine. "That is where you are wrong." He reached into his coat and removed a folded page. The missing page. I knew Noah mattered long before yesterday. He handed it to me. At the bottom, beneath Roman's order removing me from the heir list, was another name authorizing my surveillance. I read it once. Then again. My hands started shaking. The signature belonged to the one person who should have been impossible. My mother. My mother had been dead for 4 years, so seeing her name beneath in order to watch me should have been impossible. For several seconds, I forgot about the cameras, Adrian, the council, even Roman standing beside me. "This cannot be real," I whispered. Roman's voice softened. "The signature is real. The date is real. The reason was hidden until this morning." Adrian recovered first. How convenient. Another mysterious document appears exactly when you need one. Roman turned toward him. "I expected you to say that." He lifted his phone. which is why everyone here received a copy directly from Blackwood Industries' independent legal archive 30 seconds ago. Phones began vibrating around the driveway. One councilman opened his message and went pale. Roman continued, calm enough to make Adrian's growing panic obvious. The archive includes the original heir agreement, Noah's removal order, access logs, and the request his mother sent my father 7 years ago. I looked at him. My mother knew your father? She contacted him because someone had discovered your biological records and intended to use them in a future succession dispute. She asked him to keep your identity buried. My throat tightened. Suddenly, her strange warnings about powerful families and private medical information did not seem strange anymore. Then why was my name restored? I asked. Roman looked toward Adrian. Every camera followed. Adrian laughed. Surely you are not suggesting I altered Blackwood records. I am not suggesting anything. Roman tapped his screen. I am documenting it. A security specialist stepped forward and handed copies of access records to the council. Roman explained that the forged agreement had been created from Adrian's authorized account shortly after I arrived at the mansion. The fake message had been routed through a communications firm connected to one of Adrian's companies. Even the reporters had received their documents from the same source. Adrian's smile disappeared completely. That proves an account was used. Not that I used it. Correct, Roman said. So I will let the independent investigation determine who did. That was somehow more devastating than an accusation. No shouting. No threats. Roman simply removed Adrian's ability to control the story. The older councilman cleared his throat. Until that investigation concludes, Mercer should surrender his council access. Roman nodded. Effective immediately. Adrian stared at him. You would humiliate me publicly for him. Roman's expression hardened. No. Your choices humiliated you. I am simply refusing to let Noah carry the blame. Cameras flashed. Adrian looked at me with open resentment. He is still nobody. Roman went very still. Then he stepped beside me, not in front of me this time. Beside me. Be careful, he said quietly. Adrian scoffed. Or what? Or you will prove you learned nothing from the last 10 minutes. Noah does not need my name to have value. Roman glanced at the reporters. Yesterday, I asked him to participate in a public arrangement because I believed attaching my name to his would protect him. I was wrong about one thing. My heart started pounding. Roman looked directly at me. He never needed my name. He needed the truth. Nobody moved. So yes, Roman continued. The arrangement began as something practical. It was supposed to be temporary, controlled, simple. His almost smile appeared, small and strangely vulnerable. Noah has made none of those things possible. A few reporters laughed softly. I could barely breathe. Roman, I said. He ignored the cameras now. I will not claim him. I will not negotiate for him. I will not let this family turn him into an obligation. His voice lowered. But I will tell the truth when he deserves to hear it. My chest tightened. Roman Blackwood, the man who controlled rooms by entering them, suddenly looked like he was risking more with one sentence than with his entire empire. My feelings for Noah are real. Complete silence. Even Adrian had nothing to say. Roman reached into his pocket and opened his hand. The silver Blackwood ring rested on his palm. He did not put it around my neck. He did not ask me to wear it. He simply held it out. This belongs to my family, he said. Whether you ever wear it again is your choice. I looked at the ring, then at him. And if I walk away? His eyes never left mine. Then I make sure you can walk away safely. That was the moment everything changed. Not because the alpha leader chose me in front of cameras, his council, and his rival. Because when the entire world expected Roman Blackwood to prove I belonged to him, he publicly proved that I belonged only to myself. 3 weeks later, I stood in Roman Blackwood's kitchen at 7 in the morning, staring at 2 positive test results and wondering whether the universe had developed a personal interest in ruining my ability to remain calm. No, I whispered. Then I looked at the second result. That is extremely unhelpful confirmation. The investigation into Adrian had ended days earlier. The forged documents were exposed, his council access was permanently revoked, and the records my mother had protected were sealed under my control. Roman had kept every promise. He took me home. He returned my phone. He removed every security detail I had not personally approved. Most importantly, he never once asked me to come back. I did that myself. At first, I told him it was because we still had unanswered questions. Then because his kitchen had better coffee. Then because lying to myself was becoming exhausting. Roman entered wearing a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled to his forearms, stopped when he saw my face, and immediately became serious. What happened? I covered the tests with my hand. Before I tell you, I need one promise. Anything. Do not become Roman Blackwood, alpha leader, chief executive officer, terrifying ruler of conference rooms. His eyebrows lifted. Who should I become? Just Roman. Something softened in his expression. I can try. I moved my hand. He stared at the results. For perhaps the first time since meeting him, Roman Blackwood had absolutely nothing to say. You are doing the silent thing, I said. I am processing. Process faster. It is unsettling. He looked at me. Are you all right? Not what does this mean for the family? Not what about the succession? Me. I swallowed. I think so. The doctor confirmed it yesterday. Roman pulled out the chair across from me instead of moving closer. Giving me space. Always giving me space now. What do you want? He asked. There is more. His face somehow became even more focused. The ultrasound showed 2. Roman blinked. 2. Twins. He leaned back slowly. Twins. That was also my reaction, except mine included considerably more pacing. His laugh escaped before he could stop it. Then his eyes became suspiciously bright. Noah, whatever you decide about us, you will never face this alone. My chest tightened. That is exactly the problem. What is? You keep making it impossible to stay mad at you. Roman smiled. A real smile this time. I reached into my pocket and placed the Blackwood ring on the table. His smile disappeared. I thought you should have this, I said. I understand. No, you do not. I pushed a folded document beside it. Roman opened the paper cautiously. At the top, I had written relationship agreement. He stared at me. You made a contract? You people love paperwork. He read the first line aloud. No kidnapping. Non-negotiable. No surveillance without consent. Also non-negotiable. His mouth curved. Sunday breakfast together whenever possible. Very serious clause. He continued reading until he reached the final line. There was no expiration date. Roman looked up. Noah. The first arrangement was fake because neither of us chose it. So I thought we could start again. I took the ring and placed it in his palm. No heir agreement. No council arrangement. No pretending. Roman closed his fingers around it. And the twins. They get to become whoever they want. They are not succession plans. Agreed. That quickly, Roman stood. I changed the Blackwood succession charter this morning. I stared at him. This morning, before you told me anything. No child of mine will inherit an obligation simply because someone older decided they should. That was when I understood the final piece. Roman had changed before he knew about the twins. He had not chosen me because I could give his family heirs. He had chosen me when choosing me offered him nothing except the possibility that I might someday choose him back. I stood and held out my hand. There is one final clause. Roman took it gently, which is, when we walk outside, you do not let go. He glanced toward the front windows, where reporters still occasionally waited beyond the gates. That one I can follow. We walked out together beneath a bright Chicago morning. Not captor and captive, not alpha and candidate, not two men performing a relationship for a powerful family. Just Roman and Noah, hand in hand, choosing the uncertainty ahead of us. Months later, there would be 2 cribs beneath the mansion windows, 2 tiny heartbeats filling quiet rooms, and more chaos than Roman's perfectly organized life had ever known. But that morning, none of it belonged to contracts, bloodlines, or expectations. Roman looked at me as the gates opened, and I squeezed his hand. He had once locked a car door because he thought protecting me meant keeping me close. Now he understood that love was leaving every door open and becoming the person I still chose to come home to.